Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. Susan is away on vacation this week. So we invited someone who actually met Susan a little while ago at a conference to come on and fill her shoes for today. We have Angela Penton. She specializes in process and improvement. You've just started a new business recently. I know you're out on the East Coast, Angela, so thank you for joining me today.
Oh, this is really fun. Thank you.
Awesome. So we're going to start with the climate report, the UN climate report that came out, which basically said unequivocally, humans are causing warming and climate change everywhere on the planet, land, sea, everything. And there's no really going back from this 1.5 degree Celsius increase in our climate. However, we can still slow further increases in climate, but yeah, we're not going down a good road here. So Angela, you actually sent me a great article of Greta Thunberg. She's in Vogue Scandinavia. Why don't you talk about what she was talking about?
Yeah, so I was kind of impressed by her because she got asked to go in her own area, so she didn't have to travel a great distance, which keeps with her brand or her what
Yes.
she's doing. And she took that opportunity, which so many people would just, be falling over their heels for, to actually talk directly against the fashion industry and to say, I haven't bought new clothes for 3 years. She is basically saying that, the fast fashion industry is completely full of it and all greenwashing. Now, I know Vogue doesn't necessarily showcase fast fashion, but fast fashion all comes from the fashion world at some point, right? And so I thought that was really aligned with what her message is, and that she took that opportunity, and that's really great. I hope that she got to take that amazing coat home that she wore on the cover, because it was amazing, and the horse.
Yes, there is very cool photos. It totally resonated with me, right? Because I am someone who I'm like, I want to do something that's productive towards helping this situation. Yet tomorrow I might run out to H&M and buy 3 t-shirts, right? I think a lot of people are in this, make it easier for us, tell us what to do, yet don't interfere with our convenience. And the thing that I took away from this climate report too, I'm like, yes, governments are committing. There's going to be another climate summit sometime soon with all of the countries coming together and making their commitments for a greener earth. However, I want to hear kind of what brands are doing, and will brands do things without being forced to do things?
It's obviously an opportunity, a marketing opportunity, because people want to feel like they're doing the right thing. It's like, we all know that the stuff we're doing, like, yeah, okay, we recycle and compost and stuff, but there's some stuff we do, like with our technology and our clothes. You might have one line of clothing that allows you to brand yourself as, ecological, but the all of the same, maybe exploitative practices are going on. There's just as much waste being created, and these clothes are not designed to last forever,
Yeah, well, it's true,
So
Angela. I read an article or a study. The Changing Markets Foundation in June released a study calling out what you're just saying, the H&Ms of the world, the ASOSs, the Zaras, who say, I've got my eco line, or here's my sustainable t-shirt. Yet 59% of their claims were found to be not exactly what they were saying. And as we know, the materials of these cheap items we buy, they are made from virgin fossil fuel synthetics. They're literally made with fossil fuel synthetics. So there's a lot that needs to be done. And hopefully, how we saw with brands and, stepping up and wanting to make systemic changes within their organizations based on, racial equality, and, people stepping up and talking about the social justice movement that we've been going through for the past little while. I'm hoping that brands step up in a similar way when it comes to environmental activism.
I see the conflict, and this is what the Greta Thunberg article pointed out to me, is this really big conflict between the fact that marketing is about making as much money as possible for companies, and industry is about making profit. And this is in direct conflict to what she is saying about, she said, I haven't bought anything new for 3 years. So she's literally going directly against that. And so there's this conflict of, what do we do? And we get this report that stresses us out so much. And what do we do when we're really stressed out? We tune out and consume. And so I'm interested to see if people will have to be forced to change.
Exactly. Speaking of force, let's talk about Salesforce. How's that for a segue,
Oh,
Angela? So Salesforce, last year they made big moves by buying Slack. Well, this year, right now, they're announcing in September, they're going to launch a streaming service for business professionals. So the Netflix for business people. They're going to be producing shows, and they're also going to take user submitted content as well. So you know how we've all mobilized on LinkedIn. We're all throwing out content. We're consuming content. Maybe and you mentioned that maybe this would be like they're trying to become the next generation of TED Talks, where Salesforce becomes this trusted source, curated source of information news for business professionals. And the other thing, another subscription type service that was announced, Angela, I saw was Cineplex. To get us to go back into the theaters, you become a member for $9.99 a month. With that, you get a free movie, discounts on little treats in the theater, and you can buy a few extra tickets for friends at a $9.99 rate, which is like $5 or $6 less than whatever movies go for these days. But do you think this is going to get people to go back to the theaters, Angela?
I think just like working from home, people have become very accustomed to being entertained at home even more than they were before.
It's true.
So when people started getting the big screen TVs, that took people away from the movies. That's why their popcorn had to be like $20 for a thing of popcorn. They don't even make money from the movies anymore. They make money from the concession stand.
I cannot not buy popcorn when I go to the theater.
Oh,
Yes.
I know. But I think that anytime people see like $9.99, they're likely to do it. I'm not sure if it'll be a lasting thing, but that giant gap in business and people being connected with the theater, people might have lost interest. But I think that they're going to have to make it very appealing for people to go. And people are tired of maybe the budgets for movies as well. Like so many movies got stopped from being made. So there's a gap as well in really great movies.
I know.
Being made.
Right now it's just random monster movie, a movie about Fast and Furious. Let's bring, I want to see some variety back in our theaters, I hope.
Yeah.
And
I will go.
I will go too.
Okay.
Next time I'm in the East Coast, we'll go on a date.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk about a really cute story. There's a girl named Delta Victoria. Her mom tweeted how hard it's been for Delta because, well, the Delta variant. So we don't know, as you pointed out when we had a discussion on this, we don't know if she was bullied or people were teasing her. But, just hearing your name associated with an awful pandemic can be a little tough on a little girl. Well, Delta Airlines saw the tweet, sent her a lovely note and a gift bag and that sort of thing. And that was just a really cute thing. And the mom shared that on Twitter. And then you found an interesting article about brand resilience, right?
Yeah, so I was thinking about, okay, the name of that. And then I started thinking about the Corona beer, which I love to drink. And every time I went in, I would think to myself, Corona, it's all on our lips all the time for the last year, coronavirus. My Corona. And so their sales went up 40% in the UK, 13%, I think, in the US last summer and fall. And so it did not hurt their brand. And like what the article was saying was that, they are kind of too big to fail maybe at this point, like 1 year of, but it's like that, any press is good press. Just having the name constantly in people's minds, that didn't do them any harm at all. And so that's how I connected it with that little girl. I think that Delta was really smart to do that as well, because that just created a lifelong customer. That girl is going to remember that forever. And where they're struggling, people are so hard on airlines, rightfully so, for how greedy they can be sometimes. And so they've taken such a big blow, and they're going to have to really step up to create like that human story, direct, like connecting their big company with this one little girl. And of course, like, she's absolutely adorable. So that was a really smart move. And I think it was too. Yeah, I don't think Corona actually really even had to do anything. I think they just like sat back and collected the revenue.
Yeah, honestly, it's so true. I've bought Corona this summer. Maybe it's because I haven't been able to travel to Mexico. I just wanted my cerveza. But that's a very good point, though, about a smart move by Delta, putting that human face, in there, that sort of thing. Thanks for joining me today, Angela.
All right.